Yeah, we're doing.
Oh, now he's
Cameras on.
recording.
Now I
Your
am.
hair looks great.
Okay, your hair looks good.
We could share a brush.
Yeah, maybe. I'd break the brush. Mine's like an industrial string.
I bet it is.
I'm ready.
Okay. Welcome to In the Vault with the Kate Broddick team. I am Kate Broddick, and I am so excited to have our first local guest on our podcast, the one, the only, the iconic Joshua Wall with the Crew Real Estate and Real Brokerage.
That's right. And I am also so excited to be here. Thank you so much for this, Kate.
Yes. And inviting you was like, I was like, who do I have to come from Brantford? Because we've done Toronto, we've done Mississauga, we've done all over the GTA, Burlington, Niagara, all the way up through Hamilton. And it's like, we need local. And your team was one of the first ones that came to mind because we do a lot of transactions together.
Absolutely, we do.
You also have a really big impact in the community.
Thank you.
And, well, we're in the middle of doing a transaction right now.
We are.
And all of our transactions go super smooth.
You know what? I said this when I called you, but you made me look like a hero. So my clients and I were out looking at another property, and we were getting ready to put in an offer. And her parents were on the showing with us, and they said, well, we really want to go see these. And it was your listing, and I picked up the phone, I called you, you were able to get me in that same day, and then that same night we put together an offer.
And it was easy peasy.
And lemon squeezy.
Always. And that's what I love. So if there was any indication as to why, when I thought who, it was a very easy choice for me. So we have Realtor extraordinaire, father of the year, two beautiful daughters, Evelyn and Charlotte, wife Stephanie.
Yep.
Service to the community on an ongoing basis through not-for-profit, whatever it is. If you think community, you think of Josh Wall and Brantford. Also, municipal government.
That's true.
So, counselor.
Yeah, former counselor. But
still heavily involved, though,
in
the community.
I love my community.
And that's where we're going to start. So, if you can tell our listeners when you started in real estate, how you got started in real estate, and we're going to go off the questions from there.
Okay. I'm really excited to share the story. So thank you for asking. So I had been working in marketing and sales pretty much my entire life. I started my marketing company when I was 18 at the Business Resource Center in downtown Brantford. And basically, since I was 18, I've been helping promote businesses and messaging for nonprofit organizations. But it's challenging. Really difficult. And I mean, I could go into the whole history, but essentially in 2016, Ryan Campbell, who was a real estate agent at the same brokerage you were with at the same time, he was looking for somebody to take over marketing for his organization. And he reached out to me and he said, you know, Josh, I've been seeing a lot of the work that you've been doing in the community, and I want to get my company more involved in that kind of stuff. Would you consider coming and working for my office? At the time, I had no interest in real estate, in the slightest. I had never really looked into the sector. I didn't really understand the process of how it works. I wasn't a homeowner at the time. I was working a contract with Waterloo Tourism, doing promotional videos and doing marketing for economic development, and working together with the city of Brantford and just kind of doing like local video projects here in the community. I decided to meet with Ryan, and Ryan said to me that he was having a tremendous amount of fun selling real estate, and he was being really successful at it, but he didn't feel that he was making a meaningful impact in his community. And you know what? This is something that he said to me that really resonated, and I think it's why I continued the meeting. He said that he felt that he had an obligation, that the community had been so good to him to help him be successful, that he wanted to make sure that he was giving back, and he thought that maybe if we worked together, we'd be able to do that. So that was the hook. That was what got me. So I explained to him what I would do. And you know what? I'll be honest. The question that he asked me, he said, what could you do if you had my resources? And I just started going crazy. I was like, I would be throwing charity balls, and I would be sponsoring theater groups, and I would be doing like movie nights, and we would be doing like hockey teams and soccer teams, and we would be doing festivals. And he's like, do it. So he gave me a budget. And in our first year working together, we raised nearly $100,000 for local charities.
I love that.
And we probably sold almost $10 million in real estate.
Amazing.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. We proved that instead of spending money in ways that many other realtors might spend their money, and
absolutely.
no judgment,
Nope,
people can spend their money however they
Billboards,
want.
buses,
We spend our money putting our name on everything. And the crew has a really strict policy that we don't just sponsor things. So if the crew's involved in anything we're doing, we're physically involved. We're boots on the ground. We've got a booth, we're volunteering, we're out interacting, we're, collecting like donations for things. Like you won't just find our name on things.
No.
We're actively involved in what we're doing. Now, we've been successfully doing it for the last I think this is year 7 or year 8. And I mean, just recently, we partnered with the organizers for the What the Fest Music Festival. We rebranded that 2 years ago into Crew Fest. And, last night we worked together with the event team and had the Goo Goo Dolls come to Brantford.
Which is amazing.
8,000 people packed Lions Park for Crew Fest. Like, that was a pipe dream when Ryan and I and the rest of the team were kind of talking about things that we wanted to do in the community. A music festival?
I love it.
What does that have to do with real estate? And that's one of the things I think we get asked the most is, what does that have to do with real estate? And the simple answer is any action that you are taking that is making your community better in a meaningful way is good for real estate.
Absolutely it is.
We're constantly telling people why they should want to buy a home in Brantford.
Yes, and you know everything that's going on.
And we're constantly helping people, list their homes in Brantford. If we're not doing everything we can to make Brantford a better place, and we've got no business doing business in the city.
I love that. And that's the other thing is the Crew Fest is amazing. You guys do movies in the Harmony Square.
Movies in the park, yeah.
Yeah. And
music in the park.
Music in the park.
So much.
And that's amazing. But also, I think we partnered on Out of the Cold.
Which was a
awesome.
Wonderful initiative.
And a lot of other agents too. Not just us, but other agents and brokerages.
Well, that was your idea. You wanted to show that all the realtors could cooperate and work together, and it didn't matter what flag you flew. We all cared about people in our community. That was beautiful.
And you were the first person I called. I was going through the Tim Hortons lineup, and I was like, okay, I want to be more involved, but I want to be involved more so for the people who need it, because we do have a lot of struggling families in Brantford. Obviously, I'm a mom of 3, so the whole donations of outerwear when it's freezing out and parents are stressed by their children, outerwear clothing for minus 10 degrees in Brantford in Canada, you were the first person. I was like, I know the exact person to call on this, and it was you. And I think that we stacked a room full of garbage bags.
And outside of the room.
And outside
into the hallway.
The room. Yes. And that's the kind of thing that really touches my heart, and also really puts you on a platform as being iconic, because sometimes that word can be a little bit negative, as in like a brand. To me, it's iconic because what you stand for. When I think community, I do think Josh Wall.
You are so flattering, Kate. Thank you.
You tell me I'm great every time we text.
Well,
so
that's very true.
Yes.
I was recently asked to be a speaker at a summit for Laurier University, all about how members of the community could get more involved with their community. And the theme of my presentation was called All That's Missing Is You. And to basically summarize it is that somewhere out there right now, there is a community group or a nonprofit organization or a volunteer-led organization that desperately needs somebody just like you. It doesn't matter what your skill set is, you're able to bring something to the table that they're likely missing. So if you're sitting around at home wondering what you could be doing to make your community better, something as simple as a post on Facebook, I'm passionate about this, how can I help? There's so many people, nonprofit organizations and, all across the country right now are suffering from a lack of volunteers. They need board members. They need people out hosting events. They need doing everything. And it's not anybody's fault. Most people are working, 1-2 jobs just to make ends meet. You've got both people in the home working. These volunteer organizations are suffering. So if you are sitting around wondering how you can make a difference, I find the best way is just to go out and get involved.
Yeah.
And that's kind of with this theme. All that's missing is you.
Yes.
There's no shortage of opportunities out there, but you do have to go looking for them. And you need to find something that basically fits your specific skill set.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just volunteering to get outerwear donations. I'm a mom. That's what I would be passionate about, is helping children.
Exactly.
And there's so much of that out there, because I think the problem is getting started or finding the place. But I know that in Brantford, everyone knows somebody.
Yep.
It's a simple question to ask. And I'm going to ask you the question, how did this become such a passion of yours? Because it's philanthropy, right? It's giving back.
That's tough. It's hard not to get emotional when you ask me that question, but I just know what it's like to not feel like anybody cares.
Yeah.
And I know what it's like to feel, it's hard, sorry. It's just,
No.
I just want to make people feel like someone cares. I just
Yeah.
want people to know that people do care. And I have had this gift given to me, or I've earned it, or whatever you want to call it, that I am really good at attracting attention. So one of my favorite...
It's not your hair.
Yeah, it's not just my hair. It's not just my hair. And I like to think that if I'm able to attract attention, I better surround myself with things that are worthy of attention.
Yes.
So my work with the food bank or the hospital foundation or Big Brothers Big Sisters or any of the neighborhood associations, these are organizations that are desperately trying to get the word out about the good work that they're doing and how you can get involved and make a donation and how you can volunteer. So I try to use my ability to be able to attract attention, to bring attention to good causes. And for me, my family, we moved here from Newfoundland on a hope and a prayer when I was 13 years old. Brantford at the time was just at the very end of a severe economic collapse. And I have only ever seen Brantford become better since I've been here.
Yeah.
The university came in. All sorts of new businesses have come in. We've had all sorts of like arts and culture and history and heritage and food and music come to our community. And for me, I've always wanted to be a part of that growth, of that change, of what the new Brantford is going to look like. And, you know, sometimes I get myself involved in a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I just think, especially in real estate, we're so blessed. We are so blessed to have people trust us with what is arguably the largest transaction of their life. And we make good money for what we do. And it doesn't mean that it isn't hard work. But reinvesting that back into the community, it pays dividends.
Absolutely it does.
Exponentially.
And people want to see the person that they're hiring to know that they're a good person, they're hardworking, that they care about those around them. I think that those are qualifications that anybody would feel a lot more sincerity and genuinity when hiring a realtor. And also, I'm a fellow Newfoundlander, which is why our energies pair very well. East Coasters.
From the very beginning. You're the very first real estate agent I ever worked with in the city of Brantford.
Oh.
I was working for the newspaper. I got to tell this story. I got to tell this story because that's how you and I met.
That's right.
I was working for the newspaper, and one of the things that I was asked to do was to find partner content. So we were trying to shine the light on nonprofit organizations by having businesses sponsor spots for local organizations. And I came to you with this incredible, and it was your own idea at the time, and I think maybe still, you were working with the Brant Community Healthcare System Foundation.
I am, yes.
And a portion of every home you sold went to the foundation.
Yes.
And I said, how great would it be if the Cape Broddick team sponsored a page in the paper and we shared stories from the hospital of successful surgeries, successful births, success stories from the hospital. And you signed the second I brought the idea up. You were like, I'm in 100%. And honestly, and you know, not just because I'm sitting here on your podcast, but that was a fundamental point for me where it realized that like there were people in this community who cared. And you know, you've always been one of those realtors who cares. But that page was one of my favorite pages in the paper because
I love that.
Every day this hospital has these incredible success stories.
Yeah.
But also every day the hospital has tragic stories.
It does.
And sometimes the tragedies that happen at the hospital and the negatives of the hospital are what people focus on a lot. But if we don't focus on the positive, we won't focus on the good, then it's really hard to get by. And, you know, having you help share those stories was magnificent.
I love that. But I also, I have a really special place in my heart for the hospital, children born there. But they've also expanded so much with their ped wing. And when they approached me about outfitting newborn rooms to have their own equipment so that they wouldn't have to be transferred to like MAC, and mom and dads could stay in Brantford when their newborn baby maybe needed a little more attention, that to me was like 100%. That's what I wanted. And I remember when you came to me because you had a partner at the time. I'm
Jason?
Jason,
yes.
That's right. And you guys were all about the Brantford community. And it was so inspiring to me. And it really, people say they don't understand community events in real estate. When you and Ryan Campbell partnered and you two became like, I'm going to use the phrase because I can't think of two other males, Bert and Ernie.
Okay,
You
cool.
guys
Bert and Ernie.
each had your strengths. You each had things that you were responsible for, but you both came together and really, really made a name for the crew.
He changed my life. And he has such a tremendously large heart, and he cares so much for our clients and for his family and for the people in our community. And what he needed was someone to vocalize that. And
Yeah.
it was an honor. You know, at the time when he approached me, I didn't know what it meant, but he never says no. And that is, I think, a blessing, but also a challenge. It's challenging never saying no, but he just wants to help. And it's amazing. His success is the ingredients of that are hard work. He's the first one in the office and the last to leave. He is the first one to be crawling into a crawl space or moving a fridge out of the way or mowing a lawn or cleaning up dog poop or taking a dog for a walk. But he's also the first person to be toss on a volunteer shirt and go out and give a helping hand. And, he's our team leader. He's not our team boss. No. He is Ryan is amazing. And I could talk about him all day, but there's a reason he's our leader, because he leads by example. You want to follow his path.
Yeah, and that's a big, it's a lot of respect that you both pay to each other. If you ask Ryan the same thing, he would go on and on about you, always has, always will. But it's a great partnership because there's such a level of respect for him getting you into this industry, but for you helping him get there.
Teamwork. Ryan is really good at living in the uncomfortable. For me, he knows what makes me comfortable, and he knows what I find uncomfortable, and he is the first person to just kick you out of the nest or to push you in front of something that you're not ready for, and because he knows that you're ready for it. Yeah. And that's been his whole way with the crew the entire time. People come to him with really, he handpicks every single person who's a member of our team, much like you and your army of amazing...
They're wonderful people.
Just incredible. And I know that every one of them, you handpicked, and, they came to you and they bring to you. That's kind of one of the things about both of our teams is that we all learn from each other. We all lend each other. We support one another. And I learned a long time ago, you can't be all things to all people. You need to surround yourself with people who are good at things that you are not. Yes. And by, if you do that, then you can do anything instead of sitting around trying to do it all yourself.
And it's good to have adoration and admiration for realtors in your community. We just had we have a sales meeting the third Wednesday of every month, and we just had ours last Wednesday. And one of the things we're already organizing are community events, which we'll be calling up Fred of the Cold again.
Can't wait.
But we actually talked about the crew. I said, nobody does it better than the crew. Nobody does community better than the crew. And so it's one of those things that we look at your platform and we say, how can we do more and be better for our community, and use you as the example to say, this is the level that they're at. We may not get there overnight, but we need to start making the steps to be more impactful. Because it's about being impactful, not being impressionable, being impactful. You want to impact your community. And you guys have done that so incredibly well.
I think we're just huge fans of collaboration over competition.
Yes.
We will work with anybody on anything as long as it's for the greater good of all of us.
Yeah.
I think so many realtors, unfortunately, and I hope that, people like you and I and other people that, you've had on your show, for example, one thing that they all seem to have in common is they don't care what anybody else is doing.
No one cares.
We are all here to support and work together for the betterment of our clients, for the betterment of our community, and I'm not looking at anybody as my competition. If you want to come out and do a trash pickup, let's go. You want to come be a part of our music festival, let's go. You want to come out and do something with the Hospital Foundation or, again, Big Brothers, Big Sisters or the food bank, let's go. Let's collaborate. Let's work together. It's actually one of my favorite things about my work with the Real Estate Association. I want to say one more thing, too, just because I haven't had a chance to mention it. I'm so thankful for my family. I'm so thankful for my wife, my partner. She is my rock. She gives me so much inspiration to go out and the ability to be able to go and do all of this. And, my little girls, Evelyn and Charlotte, I used to think I had a why. My why was just like, okay, go make the world a better place. But now I'm making the world a better place for them, and I will never stop. I will never stop working my ass off to make this world a world that I can be proud to hand over to my girls one day. And it's just like every day I wake up, no matter what pressures I have, what's going on in my life, knowing that I'm doing it for them. I could do anything. Get out of my way. Oh, nothing is going to stop me.
You're killing me, Josh.
No, I'm sorry, but it's
I love
true.
It.
I'm so thankful for my family every single day.
And you're in a house full of women. I'm in a house full of boys. It doesn't matter what it is. You wake up every morning and it's the truth. It's like you think that the problems are big, but then you look at your kids.
Yep.
anything. I can solve anything.
I actually wrote about this. I was raised mostly by women, surrounded by, powerful, amazingly talented, brilliant, compassionate women. My mom and her sisters and, my mom's girlfriends. And I think that has been one of my biggest successes in business, is just being caring, compassionate, and some of these very stereotypical feminine qualities that, not that I don't want to be more masculine or whatever, but it's just that I have always just cared and been, cared more about others. And I mean, my mom, she taught me, like, just through the way she lived her life, she cared more about everyone else over herself. She was the first person to give, even if she went without. And, I'm thankful every day for, what she and her sisters and her family did for me,
and
raising
now they're
me.
passing it on to you. And
Yeah.
you're doing it on
and
to
I'm
you.
going to pass it on to my girls.
You are going to. Oh my God, do they ever have a dad?
Oh, stop.
Think about the boys that have to fill your shoes.
That is a whole other...
You're not even there yet.
I'm not even there
No, we have
yet,
2.5 and 5 months, so we've got some time. Well, I mean, honestly, your community involvement's been impactful, but let's talk about your real estate career being impactful. The first year that the Excellence Award was given out and the Rookie of the Year, we received those awards together. And
what an amazing honor.
It was amazing honor. I mean, I, didn't anticipate that. So, and then all of a sudden, Josh Wall comes out from the gates 1 year in real estate, and you were so deserving of that.
Oh, you are still too kind.
Deserving of that. And you know what? When I have a list, or you have a listing, or I have a listing, and I know that you're showing or I'm showing, and one of us is bringing the offer, my instant reaction is nothing can go wrong, because it's two people collaborating in their best interest of their clients, but also wants a great outcome for the other person. And that, I believe, I know this because I know you, and you are, I don't, do you have bad days? Do you get stressed out? You're so positive.
I
and
think
so
that
uplifting.
everybody has bad days, but I am very big on mindset, and it's what you focus on.
Yes.
You can go anywhere and find dirt. You've got to dig to find diamonds.
Yes.
So you have to just remember,
Yeah.
The good. It's, again, reflecting on my daughters, it's so much easier now. I just open up my phone and it's on my home screen. I'm like, boom, good mood.
Yeah.
Great. Everything's great.
Yeah.
But when it comes to real estate, you're 100% right. We're all grown adults. And I think that one of the best things that you can do in any real estate transaction is great communication. Great communication between you and your clients, so everybody's wants, needs, desires are right there at the surface and there's no confusion about what that is. And then between agents. Yeah. And you and I are great for that. I call you, I tell you where we're at, you tell me where you're at, and then we put it together and we make a deal happen.
Hey, Josh, it's out for signing.
Yeah.
8:30 in the morning.
I'm not big on texting. I'm not big on emailing. I mean, obviously there's times where you have to have things committed to writing, and that's, of course. But I'm the first person to call an agent on my way to a showing and say, hey, listen, we're coming. We're interested. I'm going to be bringing you an offer later today. We're just going to have a quick look under the hood. What are you looking for? What's your closing date? What is, the inclusions, exclude? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like having a casual conversation about it. And I think that I really respect it when an agent calls me and tells me, because clients need that feedback. They need to know, and especially when they have strangers in their house. Right now, I've got a brand new listing that's gone online, and not receiving any feedback after a showing. It's just even. Anyway, I could go on about that. Communication is the secret ingredient to business.
But it's also it takes away any thoughtful tone that you're trying to create when you try to put it in text. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things that texting doesn't communicate. Tone, sound of voice,
a lot
enthusiasm.
of miscommunications in texting.
Well, that's right. Well, most of communication is nonverbal, right? Yep. It's and obviously we're not going to be FaceTiming all the time, although we could start a trend.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, to start FaceTiming realtors, let's go. But they'll probably answer more when you call.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say my default is always text because I feel like I'm doing 100 things at once. But in things like we're getting the deal together, or let's do this, it's on the phone. Yeah. But I do say you're very good for that. And it's always, when you pick up the phone, it's always so cheery and so positive. And Kate Broddick, you're one of my favorite people. How are you doing today?
And that smile, people can they feed off of your energy. And that
Yeah, they
for
do.
me, I've been gifted with an abundance of energy. So I
Yes.
try to have that, in every little phone call with my clients. I love it. I love it when someone calls me and they say they want to buy a house. Going out house hunting has been one of my favorite things about this career. I've been a buying agent. I'd say the majority of my transactions are actually helping people purchase homes. I love listing properties. I love listing videos and marketing, but just something about the challenge. We do a lot of door knocking. I do a lot of cold calling. I do a lot of events. And one of my favorite things is that playing matchmaker. Tell me what you're looking for and let me go and find it. And I mean, I have a great story with one of your agents, Jessica. Her clients had a house they put up for sale. For whatever reason, it didn't end up selling at the time, market conditions or whatever, and the listing went down. And I was going through these canceled or expired listings, and that house was exactly what my clients were looking for at the time. And we had looked at everything. We had exhausted all options. My clients were completely dismayed. They were never going to find their dream home. But there it was, listed by an agent of yours, but just, at that time not selling. And I picked up the phone and I called Jessica and I was like, hey, can you call them and see if they'd still sell? And she was obviously excited, to be able to call her clients. And she called them, and of course they wanted to sell their home. They had just decided that it was time to take a break. And Jessica and I were able to put together a deal off market. And that's one thing that I would tell any person who's getting into real estate. Every human being that you encounter in the world is buying, selling, trading, or investing in real estate with somebody. Nearly every property that's out there is currently for sale. So if you're trying to help your clients buy a property and it's not on MLS, that doesn't mean that it's not out there.
Absolutely.
You need to be using your network. You need to be looking at listings that have been suspended or canceled or, might even be conditional. There's a whole world of properties available to buy out there that are conditionally sold with escape clauses. And I think agents see that, like little C or whatever it might be.
They don't want to go to it.
I was talking about how much fun I have helping people buy homes. It's one of my favorite things. It's just tell me what you're looking for and just let me go and get it.
It's a hunter. You're a hunter by trade. You're like, here's the thing that I need to do. Now let me go and do it. It's almost like a challenge.
And I would find that a lot of my listings have actually come from that, because there's a lot of people who want to sell their home, but there's this fear. There's this fear that if they sell their home, they won't have somewhere to go. And finding somewhere for them to go and being able to secure it, especially here in Southern Ontario and especially Brantford, where the market is so crazy, it can be very challenging to secure a property under contract with a condition of a sale of property.
Absolutely it is.
So I find that that's a lot easier to do with off-market properties, because those people are willing to give you the time that you need to be able to sell your home, because maybe it wasn't necessarily for sale in the first place.
See, and that's the thing. So you went from Rookie of the Year to now your 7th year in real estate?
This is my 5th year.
5th year.
7th
because
year
you were
working
doing marketing.
2 years marketing with Ryan.
So you've got a whole hand under your belt.
Yeah.
You were also, I just want to touch on it a little bit, but I found it so fitting that you were on council.
Yes.
And that you were promoting Brantford and trying to make it a better place through community events, through not-for-profit, donating, volunteering, and then you get into the municipal government.
That was one of the most amazing times of my entire life. And I'm not done. I'm just taking a break. Being a father is literally the most important thing in my life right now.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
And a busy real estate career.
And community
events coordinator / music fest / movies in the park.
And my work with the real estate board and my other partner commitments. But essentially, all the work that Ryan and I were doing that I talked about a little bit earlier in the podcast, there was a city councilor, David Newman, who was a literal legend. He was an MPP. He was a city councilor. I believe he was a mayor. Like, he was the man when it came to building community, like just a really awesome leader. He retired. Everyone's got to retire. Yeah. So when he retired, he left a hole that, how do you fill that? And 11 people ran for election. And Ryan and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, Stephanie, and my mom and many other people were saying, Joshua, you care so much about Brantford, you should run. I had no political experience. I had no knowledge about that. Like, I was really just a microphone or a megaphone, if you will.
Yeah.
I had plenty of marketing and communication skills, but not really politics. But that was apparently what the community wanted. I put my name in the hat, thanks to Ryan, who literally
put your name in the hat.
Put my name in the hat. And I had door knocked for almost 10 years I was door-to-door sales. That's what I was doing before I got into my marketing company in real estate. And I knocked, I think, something like 10,000 doors. I would work all day in the office for Ryan, and basically 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock every day I was out there knocking doors. And I'm going to share this because it's so invaluable. The first 2 weeks I was outdoor knocking, I was running around. I'm like, oh, my name's Joshua Wall, and I'm running for council, and here's what I'm going to do when I get elected, and this, that, and the other thing. Here's my platform: education, communication, infrastructure, and environment. Just like me.
Excited, yeah.
Running around telling everybody what I was going to do. And I learned very quickly that nobody cares. Nobody wants you to bang on their door and tell you what you're going to do for them. You know what they want? They want to know what you're going to do for them. They want to know.
Yeah.
It's complicated, but I started knocking on the doors and saying, hey, I'm Joshua. I'm running for election. And when I get elected, what do you want me to do? It transformed my door knocking strategy. Instead of knocking on the doors and me telling them, I was knocking on doors and they were telling me, we want sidewalks, we want speed bumps, we want the electrical, like the lighting changed, we want splash pads, we want housing, we want you to crack down on speeding and crime in our community. Like, they started telling me all of the issues of the ward, and I started having these really meaningful conversations. And it was something that led me in my career in politics, that I would never tell people what they wanted. I would ask them what they wanted. And that was the kind of counselor that I tried to be on council. Every meeting, before I would go into the meeting, I would post the agenda on my social medias, and I would point out what were the key things that we were going to be talking about, and I would ask the people that I represented to send in their questions. And then during my speaking opportunity at council, I would read those questions off to staff or to the mayor or the executive staff at City Hall, and I would try to get those questions answered. And I loved that. And whenever I introduced a motion or anything, it was something that was brought to me through the neighborhood.
Community.
And I was huge on using the neighborhood association for that. If you wanted something on your street, say it was a speed bump or a sidewalk, or you wanted, something done, one person's request is important, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to be doing something that's a change for the neighborhood, you have to get the neighborhood to support it. So I would always say to them, okay, so you want to do this, bring it to the neighborhood association, get the neighborhood to back it, and if the neighborhood backs it, I'll bring it to city council.
Wow.
I won't bore you with tons of municipal stuff, but being a city councilor through the COVID crisis was really challenging for me, because I ran a campaign on growth and economic development and, business. And then obviously the world shut down for 2 years. And
not
it was
to
a
your
very
fault,
trying
but yes,
time.
I understand.
My absolute favorite part of being a city councilor was the constituent work. If you picked up the phone and you needed something, you called me and I dealt with it and I got it done. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, but I can guarantee you I tried to help. And that to me was so rewarding, just being able to be trusted, to be able to help people through what was a troubling time. And resigning or not running for re-election was one of the hardest decisions of my life. But again, with the birth of my daughter and then the birth of my second daughter, you don't get a second chance. You don't get a second chance to be a dad, and running a real estate office and a political career and trying to be a father and trying to be a husband, something would have suffered, and unfortunately something had to give, and it was the counselor.
But you know what? There's no bad decision made there. I mean, I think that you were impactful in the 4 years you were there. That doesn't mean you're not out in the community. You're still out in the community. Right. So you just may not be on council, but that doesn't mean you're still not doing the work of what a counselor could do.
Yeah.
You're still heavily involved within communities like Bria.
Yep.
And you're an exceptional real estate agent and a father.
You continue to be too kind. I just love what I do, and I will do everything I can to protect that. I want to be able to do this for the rest of my life. And
I love that.
One of the biggest things I do with advocacy in real estate is the importance of a trusted local realtor.
Yes.
There should be a reason why a member of the community wants to hire you. And that should be because you are able to provide information, advice, and insights that they're not able to get somewhere else. Yeah. You'll be able to tell them, what the hospital's like, what the neighborhoods are like, help them get involved in the neighborhood association.
What kind of infrastructure is going up?
Yeah. And for anybody who isn't following municipal politics, if you just go to the Google and you type in your city's name and agenda, You can see the agendas. They're publicly posted in every municipality across the country. These are the key things that your local leaders are talking about on their meetings. And so many people follow federal politics and provincial politics.
But they don't go to their own
it
community.
all flows down to the municipality. And if you want to know what's happening in your community, listen, am I telling you to go read a 600-page agenda? Maybe not. But reading the first or second page of that agenda to see the items that are being discussed and the ones that are impactful to you, that's when you go to the number of the report and you read the report, or, cheat sheet. You can just read the conclusion of the report at the bottom for a summary of everything that's within the report. But the information is out there. And it's kind of like that I said earlier about that all that's missing is you. There's no shortage of information out there about anything that you might want to know. And I'm a huge fan of going right to the source.
Yeah.
Not having to read about a hospital expansion in the newspaper, because I love local media and I love the press, but it's impossible to tell the full story.
Exactly. Or to get the version that they want told. You
That's
never
a
know.
whole other conversation.
And we won't get into that
today, there's definitely a narrative. And
there is. But you know what though, Josh? You are a very positive perspective at all times. You've obviously been very successful both within real estate and the real estate community, but also your community itself. I think that it's admirable that you went the extra step to go on to city council. And I mean, to sit here and say your purpose is now your children and your wife, I mean, there's no better driving force to catapult any career or any passion project than that. So I want to say I appreciate you coming here.
I am honored. I wrote on my social media post, you have had a pantheon of just talented, interesting,
wonderful
professional
people.
What am I doing here?
You're doing here because you deserve to be heard. I think that you're very much seen in Brantford. I would love to see you seen outside in differing real estate markets. You love to collaborate. It's right up your alley.
Things, yes.
And so I really wanted to highlight August with you, because I think if I'm going to have one person from Brantford, I want someone who's involved in Brantford. And there's no other person than Josh Wall.
I really appreciate it. And I know that the organizations that I'm associated with are going to appreciate it as well.
Yeah, we're going to have write-ups and we're going to make sure that all your information gets out.
Awesome.
And honestly, it's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. And it's not like we're not going to talk tomorrow because we still have a transaction going on.
We do. Yes, I can't wait to get that NOO for you. Yes, so let's get that done.
Where can people find you?
Okay, so I'm Real Joshua Wall everywhere that matters. REAL, which is our company, Real. Joshua Wall. Everywhere.
Oh, I was thinking it was The Real.
No. It's very clever. I mean, Real Broker Ontario. Yeah. Real Joshua Wall on all social media.
So Instagram, Facebook.
Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, whatever. I am on all of the socials.
Well, I appreciate you stopping in. I hope everyone listens. Please follow Josh.
Speaking of stopping in, we're literally in a vault.
We are in a vault.
It's like an actual vault. It makes
for the longest time, I thought those were egg cartons.
Yeah, no, those are sound baffles.
Those are.
This is very
cute.
cool, and thank you so much.
Yeah, and we're in Norfolk County. It's in our backyard.
Yeah.
Just a short drive to Brantford, Brant County, and I'm just really grateful that you took the time out of your busy schedule, blowing up buildings.
Oh yes, thank you. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Sometimes you got to take it down to build up.
Yes,
we need to build up in this community.
Even ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, right. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kate.
Once again, please follow Josh Wall. Tune in for August episode with the one and only
Kate Broddick.
And Joshua Wall.
Thank you,
Josh.
Give me a hug.
Oh wait, every time my leg falls asleep. That was amazing. Now we got to do your.